Yeah, I truly love this camera. I've been using it for the past month and I had to make this video because I've been recording with Panasonic cameras, and even now I'm doing that. Ever since I basically decided to start my own professional YouTube channel, I guess, I've been recording videos about technology, and I feel like the biggest technology that I've been using that entire time is the Panasonic camera. And you know what? This is the G95. It's the newest and greatest when it comes to Panasonic cameras that cost less than $1,300. And I've been using the G85 almost ever since I started this English channel, because I do have other YouTube channels. And I think that this was like the biggest thing when it comes to why I got so many views on some of my videos. I did manage to take some great thumbnails and actually making high quality videos that basically kept people watching, even though my English is not really that good and it was horrible around a year ago. So let's talk about the G95 today, and if you're for the first time on the channel, just make sure you subscribe so I can see you on my future videos, because I have some cool gadgets coming up, and on this channel I just tell you my thoughts about them, and I would love for you to be there and comment when I make these videos. The G95 is basically a mirrorless DSLR camera from Panasonic. It's not the best when it comes to this line of micro four thirds sensor-based cameras. They do have the G85S, the G85 and the G9, which I love. Basically, this camera line is very versatile. That means that if you're recording videos, you can record with any one of these cameras that I just mentioned. But if you have less of a budget like I had a couple of years ago, you might want to look at the G95, or at that time, the G85. And the G95 is the successor to the G85. And basically today I'll tell you like my top 5 things with this camera. And the first thing that I want to tell you is the sensor size. And I'm not gonna go too technical with this video, because I do want people that are actually researching into buying this camera to feel what I felt when I first was investigating into DSLR cameras. But the biggest thing when it comes to sensors is that you want as much megapixels as you can if you are not sure about your composition, because then you can crop in to the video or to the images, especially to images. And this camera has a 20.3 megapixel sensor that you can also find on the more expensive Panasonic G9 camera. And that's a big thing, because if you're like me considering between this and the G85, the G85 has an older 16 megapixel sensors, so I would definitely, just by looking at that specification alone, would go with the G95. Other than that, you'll see that the camera looks a bit different, and I'm basically talking about controls. If you look at the camera itself, you'll see that we have 3 buttons over here. And this is not on the G85, because on the G85 they didn't have this button structure that was already existing on the GH5, and you can basically manipulate your image or video with these buttons quickly, and that is really important because you don't have to search for these options on the menu. You have the exposure settings over here, you have the ISO setting or ISO, you have the white balance. I've been using these buttons all the time, especially with my GH5S, which is my newest camera that I use, and obviously now with the G95. Other than that, you have the mic plug over here on the top. That means that if you open up the flippy screen, you basically don't disturb the image. You can safely see what's going on your screen, just like I'm doing right now with my GH5S. But if we're talking about flippy screens, that's like reason number 1 of getting a Panasonic camera in the first place, because they know how important the flippy screen is for people who record videos like I'm doing right now. And I feel like Panasonic is like identifying itself with people who record videos like I'm recording, which is most of my YouTube videos. And you can basically do everything with this kind of screen. You can take videos like this, or you can take videos of you recording yourself. And one of the most important things when you actually use a Panasonic camera is that it's basically limitless in terms of recording time, even in 4K. And that's a huge thing, because most of the other cameras today still have recording limits, especially at this budget But if you're like me recording long videos, this video, for example, without cutting all the intersections, is actually really long. I cut out all the parts that I think are not really interesting, so the video will be more YouTube friendly. So you are actually recording a long shot of video, at least that's what I'm doing, and then you need a camera that will be able to handle that. And that's exactly the G95 or the G85, which also had no recording limit. One huge thing that I like about the G95 and G85 is the fact that you can customize everything. This has been told in many YouTube videos, but for me this experience is really important, because if I can change my custom buttons, or actually I have even on the screen more custom buttons which I can define, I can actually set up the camera to behave as much as I need to behave when I'm going out, for example, or where I'm in studio. I'll have all my options set up already, especially the C1 and the C2. I'm kind of bummed out we don't have C3 over here on the G95, because I really think we need 3 custom options or presets, but like I mentioned before, having these 2 is enough, and you can actually change the manual movie mode and the camera will remember it when you turn it off and on. So like having a preset where you predefine everything on this camera is a huge feature. You also have the My Menu feature, which you can set up a menu with all of your specific items that you do change most of the time, which is amazing. And just Panasonic is built for usability. I mean, everything is here, everything is really easy to access. And with the G95, you also have the buttons, which I mentioned already. One other thing you have with the Panasonic cameras, and you have that both on the G95 and the G85, is the stability features. And that basically lets you record videos as if you have your own stabilizer without a stabilizer, because what this camera has is in-body stabilization in the camera's body, and also you have stabilization on some of the Panasonic lenses. But when you have both connected, you'll get dual IS, which basically means that both stabilized mechanisms work together. And we are talking about optical or mechanical stabilization, and this is a huge difference in stabilization features than what you get with digital. For example, if you do the stabilization while editing, or if you have a camera that digitally makes the stabilization, they usually crop into video a lot. This doesn't happen here because the functions that create the stabilization are basically either mechanical or optical, and I love that. I think it's the biggest feature that Panasonic has. It's basically what got me into the G85, and now with the G95 I still have that. I still have my lens, so I can basically continue on recording these amazing videos which are super stable. The last big thing I want to talk about is the fact that this finally has 2 features that I was really waiting for the G85 to have, and they never came out. The first one is slow motion in 1080p, which basically enables you to record slow motion videos in 1080p for up to a frame rate of 120 frames per second. That's a huge thing. The G85 had only 60 frames per second, so I'm very happy that finally I have that in the G95, but I still don't have autofocus when using that feature, and also there's no audio. The second thing is auto ISO or auto exposure while recording in manual movie mode in full manual mode. This is a big of a bummer that I had with the G85, where when I had all of my settings conformed on manual movie mode, which is basically where you're going to be most of the time, especially if you're doing this kind of videos, you cannot set the ISO to behave with auto ISO feature. That basically means that if something changes with your lights, the camera will not change accordingly, and that's a huge thing if you're recording events in manual movie mode like I was doing. So with the G95 we have that fixed. We have auto ISO, which basically means that the camera will change it, will adjust its ISO, even though if you have defined already the aperture and shutter speed and you are recording with manual movie mode. That's a huge thing. Believe me, you'll need that once you start recording with manual movie mode, and only for that and the fact that I told you that this has a bigger sensor, I would definitely pick the G95, even if the price is higher. And these are the top features that I liked about the G95. If you want to see more videos like this, make sure you check the description of this video for more information about more videos that I've made, and definitely let me know in the comments below what do you think about the camera, and subscribe if you want to see my next video reviews. I have some video reviews here on the screen. I have the Olympus video review over here to my right. I have the G85 video review, and I have another one of a different video that YouTube suggests over here. And definitely consider subscribing by clicking on this button, because like I mentioned before, I would love to see you and your comments on my next videos. Thank you very much for watching. I was Rotor Deal. Bye bye.